Lifting and running. Can you truly have it all? This is my review of Nick Bare's Hybrid Athlete 3.0 plan. Hi everybody and welcome to today's video. My name is Matt and this is What Matters to Matt, and on today's video I want to give sort of my full review of the Nick Bare Hybrid Athlete 3.0 program. Now if you haven't followed my channel, you probably know that I am a pretty big Nick Bare fan.
Now, I am no runner, but after only just over a week with Go One More with Nick Bare, I'm embracing the suck and I am a believer. I used to use any sort of cardio just for maintenance to kind of control my weight. I feel completely different now. This has been awesome. Embrace the suck. Go one more.
If you haven't been following my channel, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification and hitting the like button on this video. I think there's a lot of folks out there that can relate to so much that I'm going through. I'm a father, I have a couple of jobs, I'm pretty busy, but I do try to work on my fitness and my health, and ultimately over the last year or so, that has been mostly focusing on endurance events, the marathon mainly, but we're going to get into some more exciting events this year. But today is all about the Hybrid Athlete 3.0 program. Now I have put out a couple of videos about this program in the past, but today I just want to give that overarching review of that program before I actually jump into my next training block, which is going to be a marathon I've got coming up in about 17 weeks. Without further ado, let's get into some of the likes that I have for the Hybrid Athlete 3.0 plan. So I realize I haven't really talked about who Nick Bare is, and if you've been living under a rock in the hybrid athlete world, you might not have heard of him before, and he is the founder of Bare Performance Nutrition. He has a number of different programs provided through the Playbook app. He also has a large following here on YouTube, and I'll put a link to his channel in the description down below. I've talked about him on my channel in several different videos. He's been very motivational to me because I am somebody who has the background of when I first got into shape a few years ago. Most of that was through lifting weights. Over the last year and a half, I've found a lot more interest in endurance running and running marathons. Hopefully this summer, my first ultra. But so I was interested in his content and what he had to offer. This chance to be both a runner and a lifter at the same time. Of course, we'll get into maybe some of the downfalls of that when I talk about maybe some of the things to watch out for, but that's just to give you an idea of who Nick is and what his programs mostly are all about. Now we get to talk about the meat of this video, which is first to talk about the number one reason why I like Nick Bare's programs, and it's simply because he doesn't try to overly complicate things for the sake of making them complicated. When you talk about his running or you talk about the lifting and getting stronger in the gyms, he sticks to what works. Now in the running side of things, you're going to do a lot of easy running, usually with at least one workout, whether that be a tempo or interval during the week, and then he's going to have the long run on weekends. So he's sticking to a pretty basic, solid structure when it comes to your running if you want to build yourself as an endurance athlete, but also in the lifting. Again, nothing overly complicated. There are lots of compound movements followed by isolation movements, usually in that 10 to 12 rep range. He throws in some fancier stuff, but for the most part, it's what's worked, what's traditional, and it's a very well-structured program and not too complicated for the sake of being complicated. So number two in the positive section that I have, and this one's actually going to fall both in positives and negatives, and that's actually the Playbook app. Now, when you sign up for this, one of the big positives is that you can actually get this for either $1 for the first month or the first 7 days for free. I've seen a couple of different deals on this, but you get full access, no just restricted access. You get complete access to the app, And on this, Nick actually provides you with several different programs, not just programs around being a hybrid athlete. He's also currently going through a bulk himself, and he's providing you with the program that he's using so you can follow along with that. He has marathon training plans, several different plans on there, and also he provides you with a nutrition plan. He provides you with some recipes. He provides you with a lot of different information about running. But beyond Nick, there's even a number of other creators that are also included in the Playbook app for any possible thing that you can think of, whether it's yoga, whether it's strength training, whatever it is. You might want to check that out. Now, full disclosure for me, I actually had the one focus. I wanted this for the Hybrid Athlete 3.0 program specifically, but there are lots of other options out there, and there are lots of other creators that are included into the Playbook app. So check that out. That's number 2 in the positives for the Nick Bare Hybrid Athlete 3.0 program. Now, the third and final positive that I want to talk about today is that Nick Bare actually practices what he preaches. Now, when you actually see some of his programs and when you follow him along on YouTube, one of the big connections that I've had with Nick, and one of the things that has really got me invested into doing some of his plans, is that you get to see him go through a lot of this himself. Whether he's training for a 100-miler, whether he's training to just be a better hybrid athlete, whether he's, as I mentioned earlier, currently doing a bulk because eventually here over the summer, I think he's going to do a bodybuilding show. He's always practicing what he preaches, and he shares that with you both within the plans in Playbook, but also over on YouTube, so you're able to make that connection with them. And honestly, that's probably the biggest motivator for me, is seeing the creator, the one that's putting these plans together, actually go and do the work himself. So that's number 3, practice what you preach. So here we are, we're going to move on to a couple of the negatives that I have for the Nick Bare Hybrid Athlete 3.0 plan. And what I want to say about this, now, I feel like when you go for a job interview and they ask you what are some of your faults, what are some of the things that you need to work on,
we want to tell you the stuff we're not good at.
Our weaknesses.
So we're clear up front.
Okay.
and you put this sort of positive spin on things that might be considered to be negative. That's how I feel about this plan, because if you have followed me on my journey through YouTube, it's probably no secret that I am a big fan of Nick Bare and most of the different plans that he has out there. And I do like living that hybrid athlete lifestyle. I love to lift and I love to run. So it just matches up with me so well. So when I talk about these negatives, they're kind of things that you want to consider, not necessarily overall negatives to the program. All right, so number one on this list is actually the volume or the time commitment that you have to go through to actually do this plan. Now, if you're like me and you have a busy life, you've got a family, a couple of jobs, whatever it might be that keeps you busy during the day, this is a little bit of a time commitment. Most days you're going to be doing, at least 4 days in this plan, you're going to be doing 2 a days. One of those is a run. One of those is a lifting session. Now, some of you out there, if you have been training for something like a marathon or even a half marathon or even a 10K or 5K, you know that there is a little bit of a time commitment. But when you stack the hybrid athlete plan on that, and you know you're going to be doing a lot of 2 a days so that you're able to get into the gym and you're able to do your runs. Like I mentioned, 4 out of the 7 days you're actually doing 2 days. And on the 5th day, it's dedicated mostly to a leg day usually. And on the 6th day, you're going to be doing a long run. There are some variations within the weeks as you go through it, but that's kind of the basic structure. So time commitment and volume is sort of the big negative, or at least thing you want to think about before actually diving headfirst into one of these hybrid athlete plans. Here we are with number 2 of what you could consider a negative, but it's not really focused at Nick specifically, and that is the Playbook app. It came up in my positives. Here we are talking about it in some of the negatives. And I will say that yes, when you go into any one of the workouts, you can check off any one of the exercises that you do within that workout, and you can also check off that you completed the workout. But I am somebody, and again, if you haven't followed my channel, consider subscribing, but if you have, this is something you probably know about me by now, is that I am somebody who really likes to take a peek at the numbers, and you don't really get a chance to track that well with this app. I've actually used the Strong app for a couple of years, and maybe I need to do a separate video on that, because I'm seeing that I've done 404 workouts, mostly gym sessions over the last couple of years on that app. But in the Strong app, you're able to actually check off number of reps, number of sets, and also the amount of weight that you lifted, and it's going to talk about PRs and all that other information. So if I am taking the time to actually use an app to track my workout and see what I'm doing and make changes to things if I have to, if a piece of equipment's being taken, I want to have that ability, that flexibility, that access so that I can go back and look at my progress and look to see what I actually did. And you don't actually get that with the Playbook app. Yes, you could do that separately on another app using the Strong app and the Playbook app. You could write that out the old-fashioned way on paper and a pencil. But for me, I don't want to do too many things. I want to have one thing open. And if it's going to be an app to track this, I want it to be able to track as much information as possible. So a little bit of a knock on the Playbook app in terms of tracking, but that would be number 2 in the things you might want to consider if you're somebody who's very number hungry like me. So jack of all trades and master of none is the perfect way to describe really any hybrid athlete plan, and not just something put on by Nick Bare. Now for me, it was kind of perfect timing, and one of the things that frankly I just like to do. This was a time in between my marathon season had kind of ended for 2022, and I was looking to build some strength and hold on to some endurance before starting a big marathon training plan for 2023. And for me, the hybrid athlete plans fit perfectly into that. I am somebody who likes to lift weights in the gym, but I'm also somebody who likes to progress in my running. Now, you're going to meet in the middle in terms of what you're able to accomplish. If you're somebody whose primary focus, or maybe your only focus, is to become a better runner, or if your only focus is to lift more in the gym, this is going to meet you in the middle, which is going to affect your ability to kind of go on either end of that. So it is something to consider. But again, for me, the way I use it is I like to use one of these plans sort of when I'm in between big marathon training blocks, because I do like having some strength. It makes me, I feel, like a better overall athlete. Now that was the third and final thing that I had to mention in terms of things that you might want to consider that you might actually possibly think of them to be negatives. For me, I just love most of Nick Bare's hybrid athlete plans. Certainly I love doing this one. That's it for this video, guys. I think I am sold on actually being a hybrid athlete, and I will continue to do that even into my marathon training block. As I get further into the block, I am going to kind of back off on some of the lifting. If you want to follow me on that journey, if you want to see more information about that, you have to subscribe. You have to hit that bell notification. My name is Matt, and this is What Matters to Matt, and ultimately, what matters to me most is my family. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.